Hi, this is Christina Morrison coming to you from Medtrade West in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's actually our last Medtrade West, which we'll be talking about a little bit later today. I caught up with Tom Ryan, CEO of the American Association for Homecare. Tom, we're back in Phoenix. How's the energy been so far for this first day?
The energy's been terrific so far. I think the news, which we can talk about later, of one trade show has got people very excited to make it a super Medtrade as opposed to East and West. And, I got the numbers from York, and the numbers are up, both in registration and attendees as well as manufacturers showing. So that's all great news. Looking forward to seeing some people at the preview tonight at 5 o'clock. Come to our booth and have a drink with us. So we're primed and pumped. We had board meetings all day, very, very aggressive, a lot of good things going on. And, we continue to forge ahead.
And getting ready for the update tomorrow morning, where I'm sure you're going to talk about some of the federal legislative policy initiatives. What's ahead for this year?
Well, ahead for this year is the fact that we've got we had a win with CMS. Okay, our biggest priorities were the 50-50 blended rate. We needed to make that permanent, which we did, and we're happy that CMS made it permanent. Also vigilant that the fact that in their rule, they said this might not be forever, so we have to make sure we continue to justify the supply chain crisis and the cost, et cetera, because that's very important. The other thing is we got great relief, probably $1 billion in relief, in the CARES Act. So the CARES Act gave us that 50-50 blended rate and the 75-25 blended rate, which is for non-bid, non-rural areas. Now that unfortunately goes away at the end of the public health emergency. So we've been working, the Senate Finance Committee, and kind of we call it the four corners in leadership, Pelosi's office, McCarthy's office, McConnell's office, Schumer's office, had all those meetings over the last couple of weeks, and setting the stage for that piece of legislation to move in an end of the year package. So there'll be some opportunities with a CR needed in the middle of September, continuing resolution, or potentially another opportunity on some Medicare fixes needed before the end of the year. So that is a grass tops effort right now, and it'll continue to be important. That's a grassroots message for us out as well. The one piece of active major legislation we have out right now is HR 6641, and that's to adjust those competitive bidding rates. As you're well aware, that's a 7-year-old competitive bidding program. There was a failed program panned by over 144 economists that said it wasn't going to stay here. Well, it did. They put it on hold for 2 years, tried to fix it, and rebid it pre-pandemic and didn't see any savings. So they didn't move forward with it. So it's kind of a one-way street. That's really not a market-based program, but the market shows you that the rate should have been increased. You needed to increase the rate. So we'll be vigilant of watching that and seeing what they do with competitive bidding going forward. But in the meantime, we need an adjustment today. That 5% increase that we saw in the CPI for Medicare, which according to Medicare that's your adjustment. Well, when you're basing it off a 7-year failed bid program, that's not a good adjustment. So we've proven to the hill that the cost stack has gone up. The inputs on cost from both the cost of goods have gone up probably double digit. You've seen gas go up 40%. And just the cost of employees, that's probably up 4 to 6%. So it's more of a challenge, and we need to get that addressed. And the same way, working the grass tops, but also now this is where we need a grassroots effort.
So speaking of the grassroots efforts, how about initiatives with the states and some of the fair reimbursement that you got working on?
I mean, we continue to work with a lot of the CARES relief gave some ARPA funds to the states, and we had some successes there. The states individually have to, go to CMS and get their message to the table as everybody else comes in and tries to get their dollars. But we've had some success there working with the state associations. Recent success with Ohio getting a 10% increase in their Medicaid rates one time based on the last year's receipts, so that's very positive. And probably overall with some other rate fair legislation, because we're now in the state lane very much, we're probably seeing a little under half $500 million in relief.
So for maybe those watching back at home or here at Medtrade, if you had to give them one thing that they needed to do in the next 30 days, what would you recommend?
Lobby your member of Congress. It's your right to lobby, and you've got to do it. It's not just a matter of showing up and going to the website and the Action Center and pushing the button to have another letter go through. Make it your point to get a member staffer on the phone, set up a Zoom call, and get it over the finish line, okay? I recently worked a member of Congress for my own Congressman Swazi, he's on the Ways and Means Committee. It took calls, it took 3 Zoom calls, it took follow-up information, and it took being aggressive in sales. Always be closing. Make the close. We need more people on that bill. We're working the grass tops, but if there's going to be a moving piece of legislation at the last minute we're not going to be involved in, we've got leadership and we've got a good grassroots effort and a lot of co-sponsors on that bill, then we're going to be in a much, much better chance to get the relief that they need.
All right, so you heard that. Take action, and I'm sure on the AA Home Care website there's lots of links and tools to make that happen.
Absolutely.
So Tom, as we mentioned, you know that this is going to be our last Medtrade West here, and then next year we're going to be going to one show. What do you think about that breaking news?
I think it's wonderful news. I did hear about it. I got a sneak preview on this earlier. It's the best news in the world. We've been heard finally. We've been saying this for 10 years, and I give leadership at Emerald great admiration for kind of coming to us and saying, we heard you, we're going to make this happen. So the buzz is terrific, and we're looking forward to hearing what the venue will be, where it will be, and what time of the year it will be, what's the format going to be. I just met with York and Christian, Emerald Leadership, new leadership, a very great partnership conversation, so we're thrilled. Let's make it the best it can be.
For sure, and you and me both, I'm excited to hear about where we're going to be and when we're going to be. Well, Tom, I know you've got some important meetings coming up, so I'm going to let you get back to it. Again, if anybody is looking for information on how to get engaged with AA Home Care, how can they do that?
They can go to our website, and they could, go to our Action Center page and get engaged. And more importantly, be a member of AA Home Care. You're going to notice I don't have my badge on, but at this show, everybody who's an AA Home Care member, it'll have it on their badge. They're an AA Home Care member. So I want everybody to be an ambassador of AA Home Care. If you don't see that on their badge, talk to them about why they need to be part of the association.
That's great. That's a good call to action for this show. Once again, this is Christina coming to you from Medtrade West. Stay tuned for the rest of the week here at Medtrade. Thanks, Tom.
Great. Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
one.